Close in work in progress at the end of month was 30% of labor and 20%. Normal loss is 10% of the input. The losses during the month were 1200, partly due to the manage of fire. Output sent to the finished goods was 8400. Losses have a scrap value. All the materials were added at the commencement of the business. The cost per equivalent unit is made up of 78 for the month, made up as follows: raw material 46, labor 14, and overheads 10. A lot of students, when the moment a question like this appears, they start worrying it out because there is too much of information and it is not a direct question. Yes or no? Right? As a student, the first time you read this, definitely there would be some portion where I start freaking out. Right? So what we'll try doing is, see, I know I have to find out an equivalent production, and at the beginning of the class I told you guys earlier, my whole objective is to match my input versus my output. Remember this, no matter what, my whole objective is to match input versus output. And if you keep that as a base, we can calculate a lot of things going forward with this question. Let's try understanding how it works. Now, they are asking you calculate the quantity in liters of raw material inputs during the month. Okay. So they are asking you how much, see, first objective is what? My input should match with my output. Correct? Yes. We will try matching my input with output by trying to take out whatever is given in the information. Whether you would have told me or not, I will try figuring out. Okay. Now let's try seeing. They are saying opening work in progress at the beginning of the month was 1600 liters. So my input was 1600. That is from the opening WIP. Okay. Let me try finding what is the raw material purchased. I'll read in the entire question. Is there any information about the raw material purchased during the year? No. So I'll put it as a question mark. Do you have information about the close-in work in progress? Yes. It says 320 liters. Normal loss is 10% of the input and the total losses during the month. See, I know the sum total of normal and abnormal loss. See, just not knowing normal loss does not make difference. So I'll take the total loss. That means total my normal and abnormal loss is coming into picture. Then they're saying finished goods was 8400. These are my outputs. This should be my input. Yes or no? Guys, if you remember, my input always had work in progress and the raw materials introduced. My output add, see here, what is transferred to the next process, closing WIP, normal loss and an abnormal loss. Normal and abnormal loss put together, they are saying it's 1200. This they have told 8400. This they have told 320. This is given as 1600. Can I find out what is my raw materials during the year? Guys, did you understand this? For just applying this, 3 marks. See, so I told you guys in the process costing, I told you at the beginning of the process costing, my whole objective is to match my input versus my output. So this is where it starts giving me a solution. Now the second part of the question, calculate the quantity in liters normal loss expected from the process and the abnormal loss or gain. Now what are they saying regarding the normal loss? %10 of the input. correct? 10% of input, if nothing is mentioned, we always take it as 10% of the input during the year. So, to make sure that I am on a right path, I will write assumption normal loss is considered as 10% of input during the year, so that the examiner also understands. Are you clear? My input during the year was 8320, this we calculated here. So 10% of it, how much that will be? 832. What is my total loss? My total loss was 1200. So out of 1200, if 832 is the normal loss, what will become the abnormal loss then? Clear? Another 2 marks. Okay, what's the third question? They want you to calculate the value of labor and overheads added to the process. That means they want me to calculate the cost of equivalent units. Now, how do I find the cost of equivalent units? Is the question. Now, to find out the cost of equivalent units, what I need to do is I have a couple of calculations required. One, what is the number of units that I have produced during the year? So, I will make a table first where I will write my input units, then output units, material units and percentages, labor unit and percentages, then overheads units and percentages. Are you clear? My input was what? Opening WIP 1600 and units introduced 8320. Okay, guys, now what did I say? Which method are we following? Are we following FIFO or a weighted average? What have they told in the question? FIFO. When I am taking FIFO, now see here, what is the units completed? Units completed is 8400, correct? That means out of 8400, because of my opening WIP, that's going to be 1600, and the balance units will be 6400. Yes or no? Sorry, 6800. Yes or no? Normal loss 832, abnormal loss 368, closing WIP 320. So my input is matching with my output, that is 9920, 9920. The first thing, which is the most easiest one for me, is the normal loss. Why? Because I have to consider it as 0 everywhere. Yes or no? Guys, yes or no? Right? The second most easiest thing for me is the units introduced during the year. Why? Because everything will be 100%. Third one, let's come to the abnormal loss. Have they told what is the percentage of abnormal loss? No. That means what is that I said? I'll write an assumption. Abnormal loss is how much? 100%. Okay. Now let me come to the opening WIP and closing WIP. What are they saying regarding the opening WIP? That 70% of material and 60% of overheads. That means material last year 100% was completed, this year 0 is required. Labor last year 70 was completed, this year you will complete 30%. Overheads last year 60% was completed, this year you are going to complete 40%. Tenzin, what's that 100? So my opening material will be 100. So this year completion will be 0. Here it will be 30%. Here it will be 40%. That will be 480 and 640. Are you clear? And closing WIP, material will always be 100% because this is the units which you have introduced this year, plus 30% and 20%. So that will be 320. So my total value of material will be 7488. Labor will be 7744. Is everyone clear till now? Guys, any doubt you have till now? Which one, Rakshit? Rakshit, you can unmute yourself and Rakshit, I told you if nothing is given in the abnormal loss, I'll assume it to be 100% is completed and then it became an abnormal loss. Right? Now if I have to find the cost, right, they have already given me the equivalent cost per unit. So see here, they have already given me the equivalent cost per unit. They have calculated it. So just to find out the total cost, what I'll do is I multiply with the number of units. So I'll get the total cost, and from the total cost, you know, the cost per unit is what? Basically total cost minus the scrap value of the normal loss. So the scrap value of the normal loss, I shall be reducing it. Are you clear? So I'll take the cost per unit, multiply with the number of equivalent units, I'll get the cost of equivalent units. From that, only from the material cost, I shall be reducing the scrap value. Done? Last one is the process costing. Since you know the units, now what's going to be the cost of WIP if you look into it? Correct, Suresh? See here, this is my total cost. From the total cost, I reduce this, I'll be getting 344. This gets divided by the number of units, then I get the cost per unit. Guys, if you remember what we were doing, total cost minus normal loss divided by total units minus normal loss was giving me cost per unit. Yes or no? Now in this particular scenario, I know cost per unit. My objective is to arrive at here. Okay. Guys, so see here, till now what we were doing was, if I have to find cost per unit, I used to find total cost yes or no? Was this the formula I was using? right? Now in this question they have given you cost per unit, you have to do total cost. That means what? You will be doing everything reverse. That is, first you will multiply cost per unit into total units to get total cost, correct? Then this normal loss, what is there, when it comes on the other side, will you not add or will you still subtract? That's why I added, Suresh. Anyone wants me to repeat this again? Guys, anyone wants me to repeat again? Okay. Last one is the process account. Now for the process account, whatever is there, I have the value of the opening WIP, material cost, wages, overheads. Normal loss will be at the scrap value, abnormal loss will be at the total cost, finished goods again will be at the total cost. Only the closing WIP, if you remember, I will be taking it as per the percentage completed. That is, see here, for 320 units material cost, I will be taking the complete cost of material, which is 320 into 46. For the labor, I will be taking only 96 units at 14, and overheads I shall be taking 64 units at 18. Is everyone clear? Right? So process costing is basically finished goods will be at the total cost, number of units into total cost, and what does my total cost comprise of? Material cost of 46, labor cost of 14, and overheads cost of 18. Abnormal loss also has a total cost because 100% completion, only closing WIP I will have to do a valuation. Anyone any doubt with the first question? Now let's look into the second question. A product is manufactured in two sequential process 1 and process 2. The following information relates to process 1. So what are they saying? There is going to be a product which will have two processes, P1 and P2, and they have currently given you the information about P1. At the beginning there were 100 WIP, that means my opening WIP how many units? 1000 units. 60% in terms of conversion cost. What is conversion cost? Guys, what is conversion cost? Everyone, what is conversion cost? Is it material, labor and overheads? Cost of material, labor and overheads? Conversion cost basically is the cost of converting material into finished goods. So conversion cost basically includes your labor and overheads. Are you clear? So they are saying 60% was completed in the opening WIP. Therefore, this year how much will you complete? 40%. Done? Then what else have they given in the information? They have told these are valued at 288, that is material cost is 255 and the other conversion cost. Other information, cost introduced during the year 40,000 units is the current year, conversion cost, number of units transferred, closing WIP. I told you guys step 1, the 100% were material at the beginning, normal loss is input of 10%. Now first part of all of my process costing question, what did I say? I have to match my input versus my output. Correct? What is my input? Opening WIP 1000 units, material introduced 40,000. So total input is what? 41,000 units. Correct? What is going to be my output? How much is completed? 35. What is my normal loss? 10% of the input, that is 4,000, and closing WIP 1,500. Is my input and output matching? So what is my abnormal loss then? Sudharani, see the question. Normal loss is estimated as 10% of the input material excluding. Are you clear? So what is my abnormal loss? 500. Now see the statement of equivalent production. Since they have not given anything, I'll be following is the weighted average method. What's the difference between the normal and the abnormal? Sorry, FIFO and weighted average. Under a weighted average, I don't consider anything. I take the 100% of it. So 35,000, 100%. Normal loss 0, 0. Abnormal loss again. Now see here. Abnormal loss, see if there is any information given in terms of the abnormal loss. No. If nothing is given, then you have to assume, right? Now you can assume to be 100% in your exam. This your exam question, they have taken it as 60%, but you can always assume it to be 100%. Are you clear? Material they have taken 100%, even you can write a assumption that the conversion cost is equal to 100%. Now once I get my total cost of material, right, what I'll do, I'll take the total cost and try dividing it. That is, see here, my material cost opening WIP plus the cost incurred during the year, total cost I'll divide it, I'll get the cost per unit. Same thing with my conversion cost. Yeah. So from the following information for the month of January, prepare process 3 accounts. Opening WIP, so my input transfer from process to 55,400. Therefore, my total input is how many? 57,000 units. So they have transferred to warehouse 55,400. Sorry. Closing WIP 4,200. Units scrapped 600. Units scrapped 600. Now what are the other information given? Now I have a 57,000 units, out of which 50 to 200 is transferred, 4,200 is my closing WIP. What's the total of this? These two put together. $56,400. Then they are saying normal loss is basically 5% of the production. 5% of the production, right? So 5% of the number of units introduced during this year, that is the number of units which $1,600. So the number of units produced in a year, see here, opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. Opening stock was 1,600 units. My units purchased was 500. Closing stock was 4,200. Therefore, the number of units is 5,000 units are the production units. Are you clear? Now, guys, see here, out of 52,800, 5% is my normal loss. 5% is my normal loss. How much does it come to? Yes, how much does 5% of 52,400 come to? 2,640. Now see here, on my input I have 1,600, 5,000, 55,400. So total input is 57,000. My output I have 52,200 completed. 4,200 is my closing WIP. 2,640 is my normal loss. Do the total of input and output. Do the total of input and output. So if my output is matching, that means I have an abnormal gain of 2,040. Is everyone clear? Guys, is everyone clear with this? Now see the statement of equivalent production. My opening WIP in this is fine. The number of units, I did this calculation. Now I'll go one by one straight away. My opening WIP here, material 100 out of 100%, last year 80% was completed. So this year how much are you going to be completing? 20%. Are you clear? Stock, you're going to take it as it is. The number of units scrapped, they're telling 100%, 70% and 70%. Now I want you guys to understand this. I would require this information only when I have an abnormal loss. Are you clear? I need this information only when I have an abnormal loss. Why is the question? Because normal loss will always be what percentage? Normal loss will always be what percentage? 0. Abnormal gain will always be 100%. Abnormal gain will always be how much percentage? 100%. Are you clear till now? Right. So now see this table. Units completed 100%. Closing WIP, the percentage is given, and abnormal gain will be 100%. You will find the equivalent units. Once you know the equivalent units, right, what you will do is you will find the total cost. You will find the total cost and divide by the number of units. Total cost. No, sir. You will not use any of those percentages because it's abnormal loss ka percentage. Clear? There is one more thing which I wanted you guys to understand here. What is this material A and material B? Material A is always coming from the earlier process. Material A is always coming from the earlier process. Earlier process products, remember this in the exam, will always be 100% completed. Because you will take that as a base and then complete the product. Are you clear? The percentages will only apply for the new material introduced during the process. Did you understand this? Guys, are you clear with this? So see here, my material cost minus the scrap value for the total units, then material B by the number of units. So you will get the cost per unit, then you apply it in the process costing. Is there any other doubt in this question? These were the two things which was new. One is abnormal gain. Abnormal gain will always be at the complete cost of the units. That's the first one. Second one is with regards to your material A and material B. I want you guys to try out this question again, and if you have a doubt, we'll solve it. But I want you guys to try it out, this question. And the last one is anyway a straightforward question, so I don't think so it's going to be an issue with you guys. This we have already done a very similar kind of a question. Are you guys clear? Can we do the joint products and byproducts? There are only two questions, so we'll solve those two things and run through it. And guys, please everyone, I'm assuming that you're solving the questions back home. Let's start with the first question. A, B and X at the split of a company processes a raw material. Now, a company processes raw material in its department 1 to produce 3 products A, B and X at the split off stage. During a period, 1,80,000 kgs of raw material were processed in department 1 at a total cost of 12,88,000, and the resultant output of A, B and X were 18,000 kgs, 10,000 kgs and 54,000. A and B were further processed into department 2 at the cost blah blah blah. X was further processed in department 3. There was no further waste. The details of the sales are given, quality, quantity used and the sales value. There was no opening stock. If these products were sold at a split off stage, the selling price of A, B and C would have been 50, 40, 10 respectively. Prepare a statement showing the apportionment of joint cost to A, B and X. Okay. Now, let us start looking into this. Now, the first way, how are we going to be dividing this is the question. I have to make sure that I apportion the joint cost between A, B and X, right? Now, we have learnt different ways of doing it. Now, the first way, how do we do it? Now, see here, at the first stage, let me understand the question properly. There was a process, the total cost was 12,88,000. 12,88,000 was my joint cost. Yes, these resulted in A, B and X. A was 18,000 kgs, B was 10,000 kgs, C was 54,000 kgs. Clear? And then they have given me a split off point cost of 50, 40 and 10. Yes or no? This is the first information given. Now, the first method I will do is trying to sell off at split off point. If I try selling it off at the split off point, what I do, I take the total cost and then divide individually by it. That is, see here, for A it will become 18,000 into 50, that is 9 lakh. For B it is 40,000 into 10,000, 4 lakh. For C it is 54,000 into 10, it is 5 lakh 40,000. So, my total cost is 18 lakh 40,000, right. Now, if I am trying to split it at the split off point, it will be for A 12 lakh 88,000 is the total cost multiplied by 9 lakh divided by 18.40 lakh. For B it will be 12 lakh 88,000 into 4 lakh divided by 18.4 lakh. For C again 12.88 lakh into 5.4 lakh divided by 18.4 lakh. Are you clear? So, when I do this, I will end up getting 630, 280 and 378. Now, they are saying the second one, they want you to do it showing a cost per kg of each product indicating joint cost and further processing cost and the joint cost separately. How do you estimate cost per kg is the question. Guys, how do you estimate cost per kg? Cost per kg is estimated by doing what? My cost incurred divided by the number of kgs. Yes or no? Yes. Now, see, there are multiple ways of doing it. I'll teach you both the methods, whichever is convenient for you guys, you can do it. See, A was 6 lakh 30, B was 2 lakh 80, C was 5 lakh 40. That is the value I've got it from the, sorry, C is 3 lakh 78,000. This is what I've got it from the first step. Yes. Now, what I need to do is, I'll try finding out, is there any further cost which is to be incurred for A, B and X. A you require 180, B you require 150 and C you require 104. So, for this I will add the additional cost, which is for A 1 lakh 80, for B 1 lakh 50, for X 1 lakh 8,000. The total whatever I get, A was 18,000, so I will divide by 18, B I will divide by 10, C I will divide by 54,000. So, I will end up getting 45, 43 and 9 is the cost per kg. Are you clear? Guys, are you clear with this? Or the other way you can do is, you have to individually find per kg, it anyway is just a waste of time. So, I would prefer that we do a total. Third one, prepare a statement showing what is the total profit for the period. I know the sales value, I know the cost of each of it. So, the third step is easy. Basically, you take the sales, see, I do the other way around, I do not break my head so much into it. See here, I will take the sales value. What is the sales value given in the question? See here, A 12, 24, B 5,000 and X 44,000. What is the cost of A? Can I say 17,000 units into 45? Yes or no? Seven, right? For B, can I say it will be the number of units? How many units did B sell? B sold 5,000 units and the cost was 43, and C sold 44,000 units at 7 lakh 92,000. So, you will do 44,000 into 9. So, basically you take the matching concept, the number of units sold and multiplied by cost per unit. Guys, are you clear? Guys, are you clear? So, you do not have to do that bigger step what is there in the solution, you can directly do is the straight away a smaller step. Okay, let me do the last part of the question, which is the one where most of the students do mistake with. Guys, see here. Let me understand this carefully. If you sell at the split off point, you are going to be getting for A 50, B 40 and C 10, sorry, X 10, correct? Yes or no? Now, if you further process it, okay, I want you to do this calculation and tell me what's going to be your cost per unit. That is your selling price per unit. Do a working note. 1224 divided by 17,000, I think it is 72, 50 and 18. So, if you further process, A will be sold for 72, B will be sold for and C will be sold for 18. Now see here guys, A is sold, earlier was getting sold for, here it is 72, B was 40, here it is 50, X was 10 and 18. Now to sell this for 72, I have to make additional cost, I have to incur additional cost. What is the cost? They are saying 1,80,000, right? 1,80,000 for 18,000. That is, you have to incur additionally 10. See, what is the, between A, what is the additional profit that you are getting? For A, what is the additional profit you are getting? You are originally getting 50, now you are getting 72. So, what is the additional profit you are getting per unit? No, I am talking of per unit, Suresh. I am getting an additional profit of 22. If I am getting an additional profit of 22, can I spend 10 rupees? Anna, that is number of units, Anna. I sold 18,000, but the number of units I produced is 18,000, no Anna. See here, sir, output of X was 18,000 units and I am spending 1,80,000, no sir. Okay, so should I produce A? Further, I will be getting additionally 12 rupees, therefore you should produce A. Now let me go for B. B, see here, 1,50,000 you will be spending on 10,000 kgs. That means per kg additionally how much are you getting? You have to spend additionally 15 per kg. Yes or no? Now see here, B, originally you were making 40, now you will make 50. You are getting additional revenue of 10. To get an additional revenue of 10, you have to spend 15. Will you produce? So B is no. Sudharani, why will you produce? Sudharani, why will you produce? No madam, see here, you are getting 40 if you sell at split off point. Okay, now you are getting 50, that means you are getting 10 rupees excess. To get 10 rupees excess, no Rakshit, to get 10 rupees excess, you have to process by spending 1,50,000. If you process 1,50,000 for 10,000 kgs, you are additionally spending 15 per kg. You are spending 15 and you are getting 10. Will you produce, Sudharani? Last one, 108, 54. So additionally you are spending what? 108, you are originally getting 10, you are getting 18 now. So additional revenue, how much are you making? 18. For that, sorry, 8. For that additional revenue of 8, you have to spend 2. Should you produce or not? Did everyone understand this question? Guys, let's look into the next question. It's actually pretty straightforward. The next question, see here. In a oil flour mill, 4 products emerge from refining process. The total cost of input during the quarter ending, the output, sales and additional processing cost were under. You have outputs, you have additional process. These products were disposed of at the split off point, that is before further processing the selling price would have been. So that means after the split only, if you don't sell, you would have got this much. So produce the statement of profitability if the products are sold after further processing is carried out, if they are sold at the split off point. Now let's look into it. If they are sold at a split off point, that's the most easiest one for me. If we are selling at the split off point, what is that? You have the selling price, you have the quantity. First multiply with this. Done. Then this here, guys, I have the selling price, I have the output, so I'll multiply with this and I get the sales value at the split off point. Are you clear? Guys, I am doing the second part now. Are you guys clear? Now, once you get this one right, my joint cost, whatever is the joint cost, 1,48,000, I will divide it in this ratio. I will divide it in this ratio, that will come to this value. That is 120, 24, 6 and 30. Are you clear? First, I will do this. Now, let's come to the second one. If the products are sold after further processing, okay. See, first I will split the joint cost. For this, I will add additional processing cost. Then I will reduce from the sales value. Now see the question. When I did the second step, I ended up getting the cost at the split off point. Yes or no? I ended up getting the cost at the split off point. For this, I will add all of this cost individually. Then I will reduce it from the sales value. I end up getting my profits here. So I found the joint cost, that is from this step. What I did, I am going to take this up. This becomes my split off cost. For this, I will add the processing cost. I will end up getting the total cost, reduce it from the sales value, will end up getting the profit. Are you guys clear? Are you guys clear till now? Done? Guys, so we are done with all the practice questions of both. Please go back and recap it today itself. Yes. So see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much.